I should just preface and introduce ourselves. I'm a tech guy through and through. I've been in the tech world for 20 years now. I was an early Google, an early YouTube guy. I was the first guy YouTube sent down to Los Angeles back in the day to open up YouTube in LA. I fought all these wars in the digital entertainment space, and over the last 4 or 5 years, I started my own consulting company. I help businesses, I help individuals, I help celebrities and athletes in the tech space. I do some investments. I just, I'm a doer.
All right. I guess we talk about Ballers Road first, because Ballers Road was first, and that kind of actually led to TCG being a part of what we're doing as well.
Great. Let me also just quickly state what we're trying to do in film. We're putting together a podcast / show where we talk to incredible professional athletes, celebrities, and people involved in this business. Because the nature of the business is really changing. Our specific focus is how, especially pro athletes, are becoming entrepreneurs. And they're, it used to be that basketball, for the most part, was the game, and then endorsements happened. Now I think everyone's like LeBron, where they're like, you know what, basketball is just part of the platform. It's just part of what I do. And so we want to be the place where athletes come, they talk about the business and can be taken seriously as entrepreneurs, because that's what's changed. Social media has given them, as we've talked about with Spencer, they have their own distribution. That's what's changed over the last 10 years.
Absolutely.
So we want to be the place where you talk business. We don't care about talking about hoops. I mean, we love hoops, and if it comes up, great.
Right.
But what we're really talking about is business. And
Sports Business Journal meets Players Tribune kind of thing.
Yeah. And these athletes, they want. Ben Wallace. We talked to Ben Wallace a couple weeks ago. Ben Wallace was like, you know what? I've talked about hoops for 22 years. I want to talk about what I'm passionate about. Right now, that's building businesses. Right. So that's what we're doing.
Well, I got to get something off my chest, though.
Yeah, please.
Do that. Loved your dad's game.
Appreciate that.
Oh, I mean, I really did.
Appreciate
I used to be tripping, this dude, and then, when the tragedy happened, and granddad came down and just blessed him, and he just went nuts.
Crazy.
I was tripping, because I was watching, I was like, yo, and he ain't even, oh man. That's one of my favorite time frames in being part of the basketball culture. And I wasn't good enough to go to that level, but I'm from that generation.
Right.
So, I went to LaSalle.
Okay.
And I didn't really play a lot, but I had the best seat in the house because I was right on the bench. I wasn't happy about that. But I just watched it, and I just wanted to say that when I knew I was going to meet you.
Appreciate it.
Because that was awesome, man. It was really awesome.
I also want to introduce Jordan, and maybe Jordan, you can speak a little bit about what you do, but I'm not sure people are aware about how much he does behind the scenes. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, played basketball, had my own career forever. Signed with South Florida out of high school while they were still part of the Big East down in Tampa Bay. And as you know, transferred back to Michigan. Injury-riddled career. I had 2 knee surgeries while I was at Michigan. So actually, my last 2 years at Michigan, I just decided not to play because, not to speak down on the program or anything, but as you know, college sports, sometimes you get in situations health-wise that,
It's bigger. It's more than basketball at that point.
It's endless stories and your health deteriorates. So got into, the business of sport while I still was at Michigan.
Okay.
Partnered with a financial group that represented athletes, doing basic bookkeeping, estate planning, and, business management things, and kind of took the relationships with my teammates at the time and my peers within that, and we did a pretty cool thing. We signed kids like Draymond and Trey Burke and whoever it might be, just all the kids that I usually was growing up with, and did that for a while. But after I graduated, I did that like my senior year at Michigan, and then after I graduated, I said to myself, I really haven't got everything I wanted out of basketball, so got back in shape, got my health right, and played overseas for a while. Played in Germany.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I played in Germany. And from there, came out here due to the opportunity to build a sports agency. So kind of a unique back and forth between playing and getting involved with business. So as he said, a lot of stuff behind the scenes.
Oh, so your agency is here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you sound like me in Michigan. I was a recruited walk-on.
Okay.
And that season is when all that drama went down.
Right.
I don't know if you remember, everything got in trouble and players suspended, AD got fired, coaches got fired. That my freshman year, like midway through the season, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm cool. I'm good. I'm just gonna graduate, man. I'm not even dealing with that no more. The fact that I come here, I had nothing to do with it, but the coaches and the ADs that promised me, I was gonna do what I was gonna do, but it's bigger than basketball at that level, man. So,
for sure.
So I never didn't get to play, and then just graduated, man, stayed there. It's back and forth. And then I worked with the agents and all that stuff too, and did the whole thing.
I think what we all have in common is
The love.
figuring out a way to still be associated with what we love. And for me, it was through footwear. So,
Yeah.
that's
Can we talk about that really fast? I'd love to just get that on film if we can, and then dive into some stuff.
Sure.
Is that cool?
Yeah, it's cool.
Walk me through, like, how did this happen for you, man? I mean, you were like a shoe empire builder over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's amazing to me about you is, like, I can't believe, like, everything for me growing up that I worshipped and I thought was cool, it turned out you were connected to it.
Yeah, it was really. I think probably the best thing I can say about it is not thinking about it that way when it was happening, because if I had done that, it probably wouldn't have went the way it went, and a lot of it just really stemmed from, I think, as an American. I think we have a tendency a lot of times as Americans to take whatever our gender or our ethnicity is and say, because I'm this or because I'm that. When in reality, I think it's something that is part of the fabric of being an American, because that's what it's really about. So for me, I had a very typical, I'm from Philadelphia originally.
Okay.
So a lot of my upbringing just stemmed from growing up in a blue collar city. I try not to say anything too negative out of respect to my mom, because when I say the things that people harshly say, like we didn't have this, we didn't, my mom used to get upset when she was with us and go, "What you talking about? Didn't you eat every day? Didn't you have clean clothes?" And then I'm like, "Yes, you wasn't poor." I'm like, people in third world is poor, like so that type of thing. But I had a phenomenal upbringing, a phenomenal household, and like everybody else, and that I grew up with, I wanted to play ball. I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be in those situations. I started off loving football a lot, and I saw this guy play when I was about 11 years old, and it kind of changed my life. And that guy was Dr. J, and from there I just dropped football, and I had to play basketball. And then eventually, going to school, the whole 9 yards. And when I got out of school, I had that struggle that I think people always talk about, which is that word that I think is almost profanity, the big P word, which is potential. Everybody thinks you got potential. Everybody's like, "You got so much potential. What you doing now?" And I'm walking around like trying to figure out how to. I don't know, because the reality of being an adult and the aspiration of being an adult is not necessarily the same thing.
Right.
So my cousin came to me one day and he said, they hiring at Foot Locker. And I was like, "I don't work in the mall. What's minimum wage job working?" I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that." And he said, "Man," and he just broke it down, how the commissions and this and that and all of that. So I begrudgingly went down there, got the job, started working at Foot Locker. And it was a Foot Locker that was in my neighborhood, which was rare, because Foot Locker used to be a shoe store called Kenny Shoes. And it was really kind of a suburban thing. And Foot Locker came out of nowhere because they flipped all of the Kenny Shoes into Foot Locker.
Yeah,
But
sure.
this was one of those rare situations where it was a urban Foot Locker. So everybody in the area, just from growing up there and playing ball and being part of the community and all that, everybody knew who I was. So I was like killing it. So people from all of the different sneaker companies started coming to my store, getting my opinion, because I was kind of a helix between the corporate part of making footwear and the key.
You were an influencer before we used that word. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
We was actually the term they were using back then, which is so corny now, was a cool hunter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah, so
right.
I
Cool.
was a cool
You were a
hunter.
cool hunter.
And so people used to come by my store, and the managers in the store used to get upset because certain people that I hoop with or from the community that might be doing things they might not necessarily be doing, they would come in and ask for me, and if I wasn't there, they would leave. But they wanted to deal with me.
Yeah.
And my rep from Reebok got promoted, stopped by the store to say goodbye, and said, I just want to say it's been good working with you. Because I was giving her information and was making her look good in-house.
Yeah.
And she said, I got a corporate job. I said, "Who's replacing you?" And she said, "I don't know." I said, "I think I got the aptitude to do your job." She laughed when I said that. and then they really, Reebok was growing. You know, we have a lot of revisionist history going on. The Reebok was the first sneaker company to crack $1 billion. Reebok,
What year was this?
They cracked $1 billion.
Like 85, 84?
In that time frame. I would say you got to come when they cracked $1 billion was probably 85, 86, somewhere in there.
Like that,
And so they were really just hiring like crazy. And they literally swept across the country. And I went to almost a cattle call where I walked in the lobby of a hotel and it was literally dozens and dozens of people waiting to go to this penthouse to interview. I didn't think I would get it, so I relaxed. And I went in and I didn't realize it, but I flipped it and almost interviewed them because I had never met anybody from sneaker companies. And I love shoes so much that the guys who interviewed me had on some shoes that wasn't available yet, but I had seen pictures of them. So I started asking them about the shoe because I had heard about this shoe and they was like, so I got that job. I did that I was an area rep for the better part of a year. And then I got blessed and I got the opportunity to move to Asia and work in the factories as assistant production manager.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I learned how to build shoes and all of that, and then I got promoted, and then I moved to, first I lived in Busan, South Korea, then I got promoted and I moved to Bangkok, Thailand as a full production manager, and I oversaw a little bit of Indonesia as well. And then I moved into product development, and then I moved to what in my mind was another foreign country called Boston, Massachusetts. Because I grew up in Philly, so I was struggling with moving to Boston way more than moving to Asia.
Yeah.
And I lived there for almost 8 years. The first 3 years were like really, really rough. And I had like this epiphany in about the middle of my 3rd year, and I kind of changed my attitude, which made the people around me change their attitude toward me, and it ended up being one of the, I look at myself as almost a charter New Englander as well. And that's when kind of he and I had a common situation because he went to Michigan and I lived in New England. And because I'm from an NFC city, but I'm living in an AFC city, my mind was open enough to like Tom Brady. So we got the Tom Brady thing going on. And I like Tom Brady too. And,
if he didn't go to Michigan, I wouldn't like him, but yeah.
But
I'm glad we're being honest.
Yeah. But he had a Super Bowl party here when they beat Atlanta, and me and him were the only 2 people at this party that was pulling for him. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Did people just look at you like, why are you cheering for Tom Brady?
Like, wow, hey, he went to Michigan. So this dude got 2. Yeah, baby mama's a Victoria's Secret model and his wife's a Victoria's Secret model. This dude's winning in life right now. I'm not mad at Tom Brady.
I admit it's just pure hatred.
Yeah,
I hate her.
What reinforces my, I guess you would say, admiration for him is this is the only time I've ever seen white people treat another white dude like they treat some black people. Because I would tell people if aliens came down and said, show me a white man, I would be like, Tom Brady. That's the dude. He's 6'5", he got rings, he got even the baby mama's a model, he got cheese. Right. What is the problem? Why you can't like this dude?
Right.
So, and then I think what pushed me over the top was when the Randy Moss thing.
Yeah.
And when I heard he told Randy Moss, you sitting right next to me, I was like, oh, dude ain't about nothing but trying to win. And I think when you look at, I've always, I think being affiliated with teams and sports the way I have been, I've learned that championships are won in the front office. You just execute it on the field, the court, the pitch, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
There's very rare times that you see a team successful that doesn't have an equally phenomenal front office.
Tell for our viewers. Tell us some of the incredible companies and shoes that you've been around and helped and you're part of the team to help create.
Do I need to tell them to be quiet?
If possible. I mean, just a little quieter.
Get a little buzz right now. Too, like it's just stuff going on. Well, I think I'd like to start from the now and work back.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
I think what's going on now with what we're doing with TCG is like the culmination of a combination of corporate and entrepreneurial experiences. Because, unlike a lot of people who have a serious corporate background like I do, I've had some entrepreneurial experiences before. And I look at TCG and it's almost like being in the right place at the right time. Because I think if you look at basketball in particular, you don't see as much of this, what I wear on court, I wear off court. So it's kind of different, especially if you go back to my generation and maybe even your generation. You know, you look at what somebody's wearing on the court, you wear it all the time. But you know, when you look at TCG, which has really forced me to come up, I was freestyling in a presentation one day and I said cashletic as opposed to saying athleisure, as opposed to saying, you know, like all of these other words that people use when they talk about this combination between performance and fashion. So to me, it's a casual athletic thing. And I think when you look at TCG, that's the type of product that we've created. There's other competitors out there that do that as well, as far as from a visual execution. But I think our DNA in terms of building performance product, the things that aren't visible to you, we've incorporated into that as well. So the one thing I like about what we do with TCG is what people say after they wear it. Because I think a lot of times when you look at, and I won't name brands because I don't like to put any other brand down or hype anybody up that don't need to be hyped up. But when you look at these relatively expensive fashion semi-sneaker brands, it seems like to me, the last thing they think about is comfort. Mm-hmm. And when you're dealing with athletic footwear, one of the first things you have to think about is a term that became used a lot in the early days of footwear explosion, which is step and comfort. Mm-hmm. You know, I remember years and years ago when you would get a pair of sneakers, if you had a bad game, you would be able to use the excuse that they not broke in yet.
Right.
And people like, yo, you know, he had me today because I ain't really break these in yet. Mm-hmm. Now you can't say that no more. As soon as you put on a pair of whatever's out right now, they feel like they're ready to go as soon as you get it. And we try to make sure that we merge the two disciplines together. So cashletic is really what it's all about with TCG. And I think the fact that it's so rare now, as much as we're influential in the game, and when I say we, I mean people who are, you know, of color. This is a African American owned brand. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think that says a lot because when you consider how much we contribute to the culture and how much we contribute financially and how much we contribute on a global level to what people wear, it's still not enough of that. So I think all of the trials and tribulations and all of the sacrifices that I made to be a part of this industry, this is an opportunity.
How did this come to be?
But this,
Yeah, this current project. How did you
TCG?
guys? Yeah.
It just kind of landed in our lap actually. It started. The opportunity presented itself through Ballers World. So Ballers World is a media platform that we have where we create basketball content, aggregate content as well. But because of the demographics that we reach through that platform, the previous owner of the company was like, look, I'm missing out on an opportunity to reach that demographic of people who love the culture of basketball. Translation, he wants black people. He wants an urban, more of an urban market. Tap into that as well. Because the shoes are in Nordstrom, they're in Kith, they're in these high American Rag, they're in these high-end retailers, but they're in retailers that people of color don't frequent too often. So people we knew about the brand, but it wasn't being advertised to us. It wasn't speaking to us. So he reached out to us saying, look, I want to, be a partner with you guys, sponsor some things you guys are doing, set up an affiliate program through your platform, whatever the case may be, and hopefully get our shoes on some of your demographic, ball players. And I was like, well, we need to go up to bigger sizes. We need to do these different things as well, because they were originally going up to size 13. And then that conversation became, well, we have a platform. We always wanted our own brand as well to push on the platform. Why don't we buy the company? And he was open to that. I think maybe because he's a designer and most designers don't want to run companies.
Yeah.
He'd rather just design, be artsy and free and do the design thing, right? So from that, we bought the company and then we kind of did everything that we said we were going to do. We're going to use a platform to push it. We increased the sizes up to size 17. So basketball players can wear it. Actually, Kyle Kuzma wore it to the game the other day, and he's like a fashion model at this point.
That's dope.
So Kuzma wore it to the game the other day. One of our partners through Ballers World is Ryan Hollins, does all the ESPN commentary and whatnot. Yeah. And upset. I went 17 because he wears a 17. I said, dude, you're 7'2". You wear a 17, that's the biggest size we're going. Anybody after that, I'm sorry. I can't. We can't. That's too small of a percentage of people in the world who wear.
If they want to pay for a mold,
yeah, we could do that. That's all. Like Shaq did. Shaq does that. Matumbo does that. They're 22s and stuff.
Yeah.
But it really just landed. We were looking for something like this, and the opportunity presented itself, and we jumped on it.
I love that. So what I'm hearing you say is, you guys have been entrepreneurs in the game for a long time. You're running with Ballers World. Ballers World is amazing. It's doing very well. You have this great audience. Someone approaches you with a brand saying, let's work together. And then you guys have the vision and the foresight to be like, you know what? We actually need to take control of this thing.
Right.
Like, we don't want to just partner. We actually want to
Right.
take control.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
And that just comes from wisdom, years in the game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that, I hear, me and him, we laugh about this a lot. I hear a lot of times when people pop up and they say they sneakerheads,
Yeah.
and I don't doubt that they're sneakerheads. But one of the first things that come to my mind is, well, are you a sneakerhead enough to sacrifice and take your family and move overseas and work in foreign countries and you don't even speak the language and learn how to build shoes and be a part of it that way?
Nope. They like Nikes. They like Jordans.
Yeah, I would like to really,
They
we
stand in lines.
wordsmith and do portmanteaus with language a lot.
Uh-huh.
But I generally, between he and I, we usually come up with a new word that describes something better than what they're talking about. Because
Right.
I think I'm a sneakerhead.
Right. So walk us through, how does Ballers World, how do you guys, what's the strategy with your brand? You have this media outlet. How does it all work together?
So-
Like, tell us so, we
Well-
can share the wisdom.
Well, so Ballers World, kind of like what you said initially, we want to present the game, the culture of the game, not just highlights, not just stats. Like, you got ESPN, you got all these other brands that
Yeah.
do that stuff, but nobody's telling the story of the culture. Slam Magazine did that back in the day. That was like the Bible for everybody.
Yeah.
You waited around to see what's going on, so you knew it was cool that month and what shoes are coming
Yeah.
out, what players are doing in Chicago and New York. We out here in LA. I don't know what they're doing because there's no internet to tell me. But that has been lost. So our model was, we're going to be the culture. We're going to be the digital mecca of basketball. Like, they were the paperback mecca of basketball, the Bible. We're the digital mecca. That's what we want to be. So the content we create is based around the culture of the game. We throw some highlight stuff in there too because that stuff is cool. But we're talking shoes, we're talking fashion, we're talking hip hop, we're talking all the things that make the culture of basketball and the sport of basketball unique because it taps into all those verticals. So from that, we started creating our own content, and those opportunities presented itself in the form of a distribution deal. So now our distribution deal that we signed about a month ago, we're going to be in front of a captured audience of 33 million people a month. Which is going to be in 88 airports and 5,000 hotels. So we'll have a captured audience of people who are going to see our content, and using that platform, we're like, look, if we're going to be the cultural curator, so to speak, or a cultural reporter, so to speak, we want a product that speaks to that. And we're not going to go up against Nike. We get in the basketball performance footwear space, we'll get murdered. Nike's dropping $3 billion a month. So we saw a market that it exists. Like, you see a lot of people walking around with Common Projects or Greats or those different types of shoes. But TCGs, I think, are better and more comfortable. But this could be the brand that speaks to a whole new group of people that never were being spoken to in this lane. And at the same time, we're offering a shoe that guys can wear off the court, into the club, at a business meeting, to the beach if they want to, with some cargo pants. It caters itself to the lifestyle of basketball. Not the game of basketball, the culture and the lifestyle of basketball. Eventually, because we have Rob Purvy, we may get into the footwear, the performance footwear space.
Yeah, sure.
But to go start off and to go head up against Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, I mean, that's an exercise in futility, right? You're going to go out there and just get slaughtered, probably, for the most part. So we're focused on lifestyle.
Yeah, and so you guys are carving out, you saw an opportunity, a tiny niche, and you're like, let's go for that. Let's own it.
Let's use our
own
platform.
it.
But see, the thing is, in my mind, I don't see it as tiny. I see it as untapped. So I'm kind of like that with the footwear space as well.
Yeah.
And, when I look at what's going on today, I think that the culture of the game has spoken and we need to react. Like that picture that Kuzma that was posted, he's walking in with his on-court shoes in his hand and he's wearing TCGs on his feet. When in the old days, a dude walked, I remember certain guys that I know in the NBA would always wear their hoop gear all the time because you never know when somebody might talk to you and you just need to be ready because you might need to be seen. You know, but see, the culture's not like that no more, but it was like that not that long ago because I know a guy that every day he just wore gear. Because even though he was in the league, if you talk the wrong trash to his face, he won't take care of you right now.
So tell me how the Drew League factors into this and your work with the Drew League.
Well, I'm going to let our CEO answer that.
All right, cool.
So again, you'll hear me say this a lot. It's lifestyle, lifestyle, lifestyle. Unfortunately, we live in a city where basketball is kind of running the lifestyle of the culture of basketball right now. It lives and breathes all through LA. Talking about the high school, you have the multiple top high school teams and players. You got about 40, 50 guys in the NBA that are from LA County alone, which is like unheard of since maybe back in the day when teams are only in the East Coast and that kind of stuff. You have obviously, and then LeBron just came and put the stamp on that. What I'm saying, the Drew League is the preeminent summer pro-am, and as soon as so when we started this, like we got to be a part of that. We're in this city. All the NBA players come here and play in this. They brag about playing in the Drew League. I mean, KD's played in it, LeBron's played in it, Kobe's played in it, James Harden's in it every year. Russ, DeMar, Paul George. I mean, you just name these are all LA dudes, so all these guys come back, but then they bring their boys in to come play in it as well. Like Chris Paul plays as well. So we're like, we need to be in this. We need to be a part of this. So I didn't get it. It's a long waiting list to get in with the team. So we got in on the media side at first. We were just reporting, doing sideline reporting and whatnot. Kind of set the mold there too. Where we had all the hot girls doing all the sideline stuff, like all these Instagram influencer chicks doing the sideline stuff. And that kind of changed the tone of everything over there.
So that's tight. You guys actually use the media strategy to get in the door. See, like that's what I'm talking with you guys.
Right.
Like that's
you got to figure out a way.
And it was a little bit at a time, right? Like you didn't take no for an answer.
No.
You're like, you know what? Let's just go around.
We're a new company. They're all about helping the community, so let's get in that way. Now we know everybody in there. Now we're knowing the coaches. We're meeting these guys. I played with some of those guys back in the day, but now they're seeing me there back in this space, and then like, okay. And then it became an opportunity to sponsor a team. Like, all right, well, let's sponsor a team. So the first year we sponsored a team, a lot of our players, I told the guys that I don't want any NBA guys. And not because they're, nothing negative, but they're fickle. They don't show up sometimes because they're busy. And if they do play, they're not really, some of them, they might go hard, but you might get it where they're like, we're losing. I'm not going to try hard because I get paid $10 million a year to do this somewhere else. I'm not going to get hurt here.
What year was this?
This was
the first year.
2000. What is it? 2000? This was 2015, 16.
All right.
So 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And so we lost. And then the first year was the media. And so it was 3 years ago. The first year we were the media. We just came in as just media. And then we had a team, and we lost because all our guys were no NBA players, but guys were taking jobs and trying out, at different times. So we never had the whole squad here. This year came around, and my coach, the coach of the team, he's called the gatekeeper of LA. He's one of the top trainers out here, and everybody who he played on.
How did you get this guy?
I would just reach out to him. One thing I'm not afraid of, I'll call anybody if I need to talk to him. Because my mantra is I already got a no.
Yeah.
Right now I have a no. So
and through coincidence, I actually had experience with him before.
Right. So we just reached out and it was like, yo, I like what you're doing. And he was trying to get his name out there as a trainer and a coach, and it was like, man, let's just work together through the media. I said, listen, I played that card as well. But then it was like, man, look, let me sponsor your team. I see what you're doing. I like what you're doing. I like you. Let me sponsor your team. And he was like, I normally don't do that, but all right, cool. So we
See, I already know why I'm hanging out with you guys. I mean, I've had like 4 lessons already today. It's pretty amazing.
Well, the other thing too is I guess we don't take the word pivot literally because you got to know how to pivot when you're playing hoops. So we pivot.
Right.
So
it's more than a pivot. That's like a strong drop step. Right?
You go where to speak, man.
Yeah.
You have to swallow your pride, and sometimes, like, to kind of backtrack a little bit, Ballers World started off as a mobile app that connected people to play basketball. So we were the first ones on the market that had every court in the world geolocated on our phone. Mm-hmm. Every basketball court. So you could go anywhere on earth, find a game, schedule a game with people equal skill level, whatever the case may be. Business side,
Wait. And I tested it because I was in China working on a footwear project. And then I actually looked out the window of my hotel and I saw a court like this, and I found it. And then I called him. I said, "Yo, it's a court right there. It's work. It worked."
That's how you guys met?
No. This was it.
Again, I reached out to him. I don't. Like I said, you tell me like I need Obama, I'll figure out a way to call him. You know.
Yeah, and then I had all my friends that worked at footwear like check it too. So when I was back, they was like, "Yeah, it works. I'm in Hong Kong right now." So I was like, "Oh, it works. So it's cool."
But yeah, so that mindset was all right. I said if we're going to establish ourselves in the current mecca of basketball, we got to win the Drew. That's what we said. We got to win the Drew.
We did.
I need to win this. This is like bragging rights in the city. This is like some street shit. This is like winning the battle in New York back in like the 80s. Like this is how you make your name in the city. So the second year we were talking to coach. He was like, "Kyle, man, we got the squad." And I was like, "No NBA players." He said, "No guys who are currently signed. We want guys who've, as you'll say, had some coffee in the NBA. Because those guys are still hungry. Yeah. They were in the league. They bounce in and out. Yeah. D League, overseas. Oh, I got a job 10-day. You know, maybe I'll sign it for this year with a team." All of them played D1, so we had like 3 or 4 of those kind of guys.
Yeah.
Our squad was crazy.
Oh, and the dude that was an Olympian in Africa.
Yeah, we have Olympian. Yeah,
throw that in.
Yeah, 6'11" small. So our entire front court was 6'11" and above.
Yeah.
So we had like an NBA built team.
Yeah.
Our entire front court was 6'11". Our 2 guard was 6'6", and our point guard was actually on the Boston Celtics last year. And to me, he's
John.
Oh, you know Gibson?
I don't know him personally.
Oh.
When he said
He one of the coldest street NBA. He had some coffee.
Yeah.
This dude's one of the coldest dudes you ever like see. Unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
He's doing step stuff, but with some, some that to it. Yeah. So we went through. We beat Big Baby's team. We beat James Harden's team. We beat Nick Young's team. We beat DeMar DeRozan's team. We beat all these guys' teams, and won the Drew League this year.
Man, so what does that mean to you, like from a business context?
Well,
like, why did you need to win?
But I'm gonna tell you, the reason why when you asked me about it, I said let him answer. Because he grew up here, and I knew how important it was to him. But for me, the original Drew League is a league out of Philadelphia called the Baker League, which was founded in 1960. So the Baker League was so influential in basketball that the NBA took some of its rules from the Baker League. So I watched some of the greats of the greats of the greats play in the Baker League, and it was essentially the same thing as the Drew League. And it started to fade because at one point in time, and I don't know if you remember this guy's name, he was out of Philly, played on the Spurs. His name was Gene Banks.
Oh yeah.
Well, Gene Banks was playing in the Baker League and had an injury. And those days it wasn't structured right. The NBA didn't have his back. So the Baker League started fading because guys was like, "Oh, I get hurt."
Right.
But obviously now that's all been addressed. But I used to go there every summer because that's the way I used to be able to see Jelly Bean play because they lived in Italy and he was gone.
Right.
And that was my guy.
Right.
And the only way I was able to see him play is when they would come back in the summer from Italy, and I would see Jelly Bean. And I'm just using him as an example. It was just all those names he dropped there were the same names. And we used to watch guys who were established NBA players play in the Baker League and get their asses handed to them by a dude that's from North Philly.
Right.
So.
But so tell me why it was important for you to win the Drew League, because I think that's an important point.
Well, because if it's another word that I say a lot too. Well, if we're going to be the leaders of the lifestyle, that's our goal. It's got to be authentic. So authenticity. Everybody in our company was played or is involved in basketball at some level, at a very high level for most of their life. So we love the game. We could talk it at a high level, stats going back all the way to the 80s, 70s, whatever. We know history about the game. We love the game. We know the origin of a lot of different things. It's all about authenticity in the space. And I think that's what we think that's what this space is lacking. You got companies out there who come around and they'll film high school kids and take that content and make money off of it, exploit the kids and do some goofy stuff here and there, and that's good because it's entertaining. But these companies are ran by people who have never touched a basketball in their life. They saw an open market and they saw an opportunity to make money, which is I get it from a business standpoint. I'm fine with that, but nobody is authentic. So the fact that we come in here with our media platform, the fact that everybody in the company, we have NBA players, we got college level players, we got industry guys, agents, people who work at all these different levels of the game, every aspect of it are involved in this company. We go in here and we win the preeminent summer pro-am. Our company is our team name won this league. That creates a level of authenticity. Like, these guys are for real. They are about the culture. They love this culture so much that they are willing to be a part of something in the community, in the middle of Compton, middle of Watts, be out there every week playing ball with these guys giving back to the community, but to win that creates that authenticity. It wasn't if we wanted to win, we had to win it.
Yeah.
We had to win. I always look at it as analogous to 8 Mile, or Eminem was in there at the end. He had to beat Papa Dot. He had to win that.
Yeah.
He doesn't win that, he's not an authentic Detroit rapper.
Right.
We don't win this, we're not an authentic basketball platform in my mind. And I think once that's a part of your resume that will translate and everybody will understand, like, okay, this is official. These guys know what the hell they're talking about. They're really in this. It's real.
Well, it's funny because my work as an entrepreneur and teaching other entrepreneurs and startups, so much of it comes back to this idea of community. Mm-hmm. And in 2018, I'm trying to teach startups and entrepreneurs, you have to think about community, even if it doesn't make sense. It's not intuitive. You're like, oh, I'm making a water bottle. Well, guess what? You need to think about a community with this water bottle. And it sounds like you guys just locked in and had that vision very clearly.
Yep, absolutely.
And you made it actionable even better, right?
Right.
It wasn't just some fuzzy notion, we're going to be of the people. You were like, no, we have a clear goal, and we went out and we executed.
Exactly. And we take these coaches, these players, we take these guys, we go just on the community thing, we go around, we do free clinics all throughout the city. And like I said, authenticity and consistency are the two things that you have to have, man. And especially in this space where people see a lot of people come in and exploit it and take advantage of it from outside the culture, so to speak. And I thought it was important. I thought it is more than important. It was crucial and vital that we did not get labeled that, because we are authentic. But how do you say that? You can't just tell people you're authentic. You're like, it's like saying I'm not a liar. Like, who has to say that? Either you are or you aren't.
Like when people say stuff like, well, honestly, no, that means you wasn't being honest when you was talking earlier, right?
Exactly. So it's just, we didn't want it. It was a mandatory part of our business plan that we have to win this true league.
Yeah. So it was a good. August was good.
So how do you guys see yourselves? Like, where's this all going for you guys? How do you feel like this brand helps people? We talk about community. Mm-hmm. Where do you think it's all going for you guys? I mean, again, an incredible career for you. I'm just meeting you, but just an incredible background and success after success after success. Like, where does this go?
I think, for me personally, obviously you have your business goals, your exit strategies and things like that, but that's not what we're talking about. For me personally, it's about being a symbol. And I think in this culture, and especially in the black culture, symbols are very important. We're a very symbol-based or symbol-driven community. So, I just kind of gave an example. That's why church was always so powerful in our community, because it was a symbol of something greater than this existence that we had, in slavery or whatever. So that was like a symbol that we can reach to, and we love symbols. Whatever your belief is, we like the symbols of these things. So I want people to look at it and say, these dudes, like you said, they had a vision, they saw it, they got into it in the tech space, where every conference we go to,
We're the only ones.
the only ones. It's the most homogenous industry. One of them. It's unbelievable.
It's terrible.
It's every time I go there, you get at Michigan when you saw a brother, you do the like, okay, I got one. I saw it, because
Somebody actually asked me that one time.
No, you got
Somebody
6%.
said, "Why do you guys do that? Like,
It's
why
just-
y'all don't?"
It was like, I see you. We'll be here. It's like
I don't even
I'm
notice
looking
that
at
you
but
you went through something, right?
but there's a bond.
Yes.
That you like, what's up, man? Like,
Right.
I ain't got to say the word to him. He knows, like, yeah, we're going through the same struggle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I want us to be that for the next generation. They said, these guys did it. If they can do it, wait a minute. I taught myself how to code, or he said, I'm gonna move to Asia to learn this craft. He was the only one when he did it, so it's like it's that symbolism that these guys did it. They actually said, you know what, you have to plan, you have to be willing to sacrifice, you have to be willing to execute. Plan, sacrifice, execute, and you usually get the result you want. So
Yeah.
I want us to be that for a lot of people.
Yeah, and then for me, I feel really fortunate that as the years have gone by, 'cause I got an email from some dude today, somebody that may want to figure out a way to support some of the things that we're about, and he was explaining me to the guy that was pulled into the email. So he said, "Rob, he's an old shoe guy, right?" So when I responded, I said, "Old shoe guy, So I still would get up and down and play a little 3-on-3. You know what I mean? Old shoe guy. But I knew what he meant. He wasn't trying to be disrespectful or anything, but just the fact that he said it, he just like old shoe guy. I said, I think you're trying to say experience. I said, okay, I got that. I'll accept that. But old shoe guy.
I got called grizzled last night. I was like, wait, is that old? Like, what's grizzled?
That's a good word though.
Yeah.
Because you know what? The reason why grizzled is a good word is anybody that don't know you will think twice before messing with you. Because they be like, yo, the grizzled dude. You be like, oh shit, he's grizzled. You're gonna walk in and just push the grizzled dude around. You know? So, but what I was gonna say is this, I always have, one of the few things I haven't done officially, I've always wanted to be a teacher. And because the footwear industry is so important to our culture, it's allowed me to help people and give people some advice, and in many cases, help people get on the path to getting a job in this space. Because the one thing that I've always felt, I would love to have the opportunity to sit down and do a screenplay for a comedy about a culture that these, whatever number it is, we're supposed to be 12 or 13% of the US population. Well, what percentage of the buying power are we of sneakers? So how is it that there's nobody on the inside of the sneaker companies that represent the people that you're selling to? So some of the meetings that I used to be in, you know, preparation meetings, line reviews, things like that, they used to be humorous to me because I'm from the street.
Yeah.
So I remember years and years, it was more than 20 years ago, I was in a line review and somebody that came out of some, you know, amazing school that was properly educated, got hired, said, is music important in the basketball culture? Kick this dude out. I mean, what are you bringing to the table? But I'm quite sure he's a really smart person.
Yeah.
He got it, he got the job, whatever the case may be. But for me, to be able to sit down with somebody and they go, because the first thing people say is like, oh, you're a designer. And I've had some design experiences. But really, I felt when I came into the game, I noticed that I felt for me, I love product development. Because product development is almost synonymous with being a contractor when you build a building or a house or whatever the case may be. Do you mix the cement? No. But if the cement is messed up, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Did you do the wiring for the electricity? No. But if the house blow up and catch fire because of the wiring, it's your fault. They don't go find the cement man, they don't find the electrician, they go find you. Because your job as the contractor is to make sure that you work with all of the different disciplines and you bring it together and you walk in later and say, here's your shit. Wow, for me that was just intoxicating.
Will you please tell the audience some of the shoes and the brands you've been connected to? I gotta get this on. Just because it's, for me, it's legendary, right? I mean, just the N1 alone, like, that for me is special.
All right, I'll go back. Then.
All right,
okay,
let's do it that way.
I'll say the first shoe I was associated with, because I've been a behind the scenes guy. You know, a lot of times the guys that get the credit are the guys who get the microphone.
That's why we're sitting here.
Yeah. But the first shoe I was associated with from a signature aspect was when I was working at Reebok and I was about 40, 50 pounds lighter. And it was the shoe for Danny Ainge.
Really?
Yeah, because I worked at Reebok and Reebok was Boston and Danny Ainge played for the Celtics. And I remember being overseas and being a Sixer fan and hating the Celtics. And I'm in the production line. I'm like, I wish I could make these fall apart, but I get fired.
I actually remember this a little bit. He ended up wearing like black.
Yeah,
He
was wearing a shoe called the BB 5600.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, and then obviously Reebok had a really strong connection with the Celtics because the two biggest companies in the state of Massachusetts at that time was Raytheon and Reebok. Because again, you know, we got revisionist history going on. Until Michael Jordan became Michael Jordan, Reebok was a problem for Nike. Like a major problem for Nike.
Yeah.
We were actually printing money. We were killing it over there. So, you know, and from there I ended up being associated with the shoes that Dominique Wilkins wore. Like he kind of gets minimized in history because he didn't win any championships, but he was, who was more exciting than him?
No way.
This dude is 6'8" with a 48-inch vertical.
No.
He
For
was the
my
guy.
age, it was like, MJ was like, maybe just for a period, it was like this. It was
like that.
Yeah, and people forget that.
Now I have a nephew who's like in his now early 40s, and his favorite player when he was a kid was Neek.
Yeah.
He was like, Michael Jordan's all right, but Neek, I mean, looking like you got epilepsy, and then you dunk on people. I mean, come on.
He
this
just
dude,
loved to dunk on people.
That's what he used to do.
Yeah.
So I was associated with him with his shoes
Yeah.
and a whole bunch of people that, as a matter of fact, a very, very good friend of mine actually was at Under Armour and had some association with Steph Curry. But when he presented to him, he presented the shoes that he and I worked on when we actually were doing Reebok shoes, and his father wore those. So when he presented to Steph, he showed Steph what Dell wore. So it's been a long list of guys that, you know, being associated, did shoes that was associated with Dennis Rodman, Steve Smith, Muggsy Bogues, Sean Kemp. These are the guys I love. This is real basketball we're talking about right here. Was associated with the shoe that D. Brown was wearing when he did like that and he dunked, which is one of the most famous dunk contests ever, but people don't even talk about that because when he covered his eyes after he pumped up his shoes, I mean, that was crazy. And that was the same dunk contest when Sean Kemp took off and he kind of kicked himself in the butt and did that. We had that going on. So, you know, and then after, and then being associated with Shaquille, a lot of people like to take credit for the Iverson shoe.
Yeah.
And the reality of the shoe was it was my responsibility to put the team together, and they all became very successful people in the industry. But everybody said, I didn't do it. I was already kind of a boss. So I had the responsibility of putting together the people who were going to work on that shoe because we got him in the middle of the summer. And the footwear ideation to consumer process is generally anywhere between 12 and 24 months. So any shoe that you see in Foot Locker or whatever, it was worked on at least minimally about a year before, and in some cases, depending on if it's technology or whatever, and some other things need to be developed, it could be that long. But we got him in the summer, and there was a clause in the contract that said if he didn't have a signature shoe by the time the season started, that he could just walk. So I was kind of known for being able to work around situations, and the CEO of the company called me and said, can you do it? Can you make this happen? And I grabbed a couple people that I knew, and the first thing I said is, you have no other responsibility. I'm just going to check in on y'all, make sure you get it done. Because I still had to run product development, because at that time, I was co-managing director of global product development for a company that had 20 different categories that we were making shoes for. So I couldn't just stop doing that and do that, but I had to put a squad together, put a hit team together. And those guys, they got it done. And by the time the season started, he had a shoe called the Question. And the Question is still the most legendary shoe. Matter of fact, we saw a picture of Kawhi Leonard wearing the Question like last week.
My top 3 basketball shoes.
Yeah. So, you know, that was the shoe. But then it never was repeated again. And this is just my biased opinion, because after I did that, the people who stayed far away because they didn't want to get fired, because no one wanted to be around this flop of not having Iverson shoe ready in time.
Yeah.
They wasn't trying to help me. They wasn't hanging out with me. I was alienated completely. But when it was time to do the next shoe, which was called The Answer, all of a sudden everybody, hey, what's going on? You know, I was like, yo, you know what? I'm out. Because I'd already talked to Adidas, because Kobe needed his shoe, and I left and I went to Adidas, and I was a part of the first Kobe shoe, which is now called the Crazy 8, which was originally called, which was actually called the KB8. So we did that.
JD's an Adidas dude.
Oh yeah, I love Adidas. Well, Adidas, for me, Adidas is my Nike. Because I come from a generation, I remember when Nike didn't exist.
Yeah.
And I remember when Nike shoes first came out, they used to fall apart.
Yeah.
And I remember when Nike used to just be called Nike.
Yeah.
So they control things, so you don't, you know. And I don't have nothing against them, because it's a great brand. I got a lot of friends that work there. I wear their shoes when I like what they do. But for me, my passion, my gut, if I pick one of the big brands, it's a lot of the European brands, and which is also a European brand. And if you want to be proper about it, it's Adidas now. Adidas.
How come N1, you guys were right there for a minute?
Well, actually, I came into N1 after it had fell, and we
really?
resurrected.
Got it.
But I know the founders really well, because it was founded in Philadelphia. So Seth Berger, who's an amazing guy, who is actually one of Mo Bamba's high school coaches.
Really?
Yeah, because Seth Berger coaches high school in the outskirts of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. And but he's the actual original founder. So what happened was they sold the brand to a company in Orange County. So at that point in time, I had stepped away from basketball, and I stepped in and was the head of product development for Vans. So the team that I was working with then, they were part of what opened Vans up to the urban community, because Vans goes back to 1966, and I don't think no black people was wearing Vans at all until around 2006.
I think we had
or
like
so,
one kid in
2000.
junior high.
Right. So, and he probably wasn't down to wear them back then.
No,
So,
I think he just had to wear
yeah,
them.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, so I had stepped away when I left Adidas. I actually ended up did some entrepreneurial stuff, and that's when we had me and my partners, which is what really kind of bonded he and I when we didn't know each other, because I was a part of the very first e-commerce sportswear brand ever that was kicked off with Shaquille, Mike Piazza, Rebecca Lobo, and Oscar De La Hoya, and the brand was called Dunk.net. And it was the very, very first e-commerce sportswear brand ever. Because we had the vision of how business is today back then. Now, that's cool to talk about, and I get a lot of props for that, but that also ended up creating this coincidence that I love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Because we were the first.
Yeah.
And people weren't ready to do that yet. But we saw what was happening right now back then. 'Cause
Technology wasn't ready either. Really.
No.
Dial-up was terrible.
Your dollar was terrible, and the banks didn't have your back.
Yeah,
That was
people
really
didn't
ridiculous.
trust.
You didn't want to put in their credit card.
Banks didn't help.
And
Nobody helped.
And what we didn't take into consideration, and I can't speak to now because I don't follow this now, but about some staggering percentage of sneaker purchases are with currency and not with plastic. And then when you look at the people who are the key influencers, and this has changed now, but as my generation was segueing into this generation, key influencers, a big percentage of them don't do things legally to sustain themselves. So why would you be having plastic? So that was one of the reasons why when I was working at that Foot Locker years and years before that, people would come to the store to see me because I grew up with you and I know what you do and you know I know what you do, but I'm not going to mess with the code of the streets. So you roll up in there with a big bankroll and you be like, yo, you know, I'm supposed to go up to you and go, excuse me, hello, how are you? Would you like to try those? Try them on? Motherfucker, you know what size I was. What the fuck back there before I dunk on you right now? Bring my shit out. I'm so, hello, how are you? Let me pull out a shoehorn. No.
Yeah.
I still got the whip running. You know what to bring out and bring it out. We go with it, and we get this done with. So, you know, it was just one of those situations like that. So that really kind of, he was aware, we didn't know each other, but he was aware of Dunk.net because of his passion and association with the game.
Yeah.
You know, and so I did that. That lasted for about 3 years though. So it was very well funded. It was very well executed. We had a very specific vision. A lot of the things that he described earlier was what we had going for us then. But then after the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches situation popped up, I had to come back into corporate, and that's when I went and joined Vans. And that was that was amazing because we got the Vans and we tripled the size of the business in 3 years. And Vans was only doing maybe 280,000 or something, really low when I got there. We got up, and then within 3 years we got up to 800 million, and now they're a $4 billion company. And I still got a lot of friends and family that work there now,
Man.
and it was an amazing situation.
280,000 back
Yeah,
up to.
They were actually talking about bankruptcy and stuff like that. And then eventually they got purchased. I don't know if you're familiar with VF Corporation.
Yeah,
But VF came in. So VF came in and purchased the brand while I was working there. So again, I was learning. So now I'm understanding that part of the business outside of just knowing how to build shoes.
Yeah.
So I saw how that worked and understanding what it takes and learning that the word brand and culture are pretty much synonyms.
So it feels like you guys have this like perfect recipe. You have experience or grizzledness,
Yeah, grizzledness. I like that. Grizzledness.
right? You guys are unbelievably smart, talented. You have authenticity. You have a plan. You guys have sacrificed all the amazing adjectives and words you've used. What's like the sneaky game plan over the next 18 months? Can you share anything you guys are doing on the sneaky DL for us? We should be on the lookout for. I mean, you guys. I should also say, like, you've had some amazing stuff. You had LeVar Ball on Ballers World.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Early.
Yeah.
Right?
Before
You, like, you sort of caught that.
His first real.
You caught that. You guys caught it.
That was for me. That was probably the toughest guest that we ever had for me personally, because he's a very entertaining guy, and I'll just give one example of a question because I wrote the questions for that episode.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and what the question was, where do you make your shoes? Because I just was, and I kind of knew, because I'm reasonably connected. It's very few times that it's advantageous to be a black person when it comes to business, but being literally the second African American to live in Asia in the sneaker industry, that's advantageous to me because there's more people that know me than I know. Because some people don't want to say they don't know me, so I'll be getting all kind of like, Mr. Lee said hi. I'm like, what? Short guy, dark hair, chinky eyes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy. So I wanted to know, but I had already found out, but I wasn't going to say anything. So the question was, where do you make your shoes? And he had a phenomenal answer, which made everybody laugh. And he said, the same place where Nike make their shoes at. That's like 6 or 7 countries. He didn't give no answer, but everybody laughed and gave him props for like the things that he was doing. So, you know, for me, I was admiring of what he was doing, but I was concerned about a lot of the things that seemed to have happened when it was time to do the executions. Execution is key. You've seen what we've done in the project that we're involved with.
It's just an amazing amount of work goes into the smallest details that no one will ever know. They never should know, but we have to live it.
But see, the Iverson challenge for that first shooter question, the lessons and things learned from that is what I applied to the project that you and I worked on.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that was the confidence in being able to pull off something that should take 12 months or whatever the case may be. So, you know, been there. So eventually this project, I became that entity for that company at that time.
So what should we look for? What's on the horizon? How do our people find your shoes? How do we make this all happen?
With the shoes, we're expanding the line with the shoe company. We're gonna create, you know, segmentation where we're gonna have, you know, more affordable shoes for a different, you know, that segment of people. We're also gonna have the high end stuff for the people who like the Bushimis of the world. We're gonna come compete with those guys. We're also looking to get into women's eventually, and you know, women buy shoes. They spend money.
I've heard that.
So we're making strides to get into that space.
And we want to make comfortable with our
Right.
shoes too.
You can find all of our shoes now at tcgfootwear.com. Follow us on at tcgfootwear. You get update on everything. If you can't get to the web, you want to go see them and touch them. Nordstrom, your local Nordstrom will probably have them, and top boutique retailers like Kith and American Rag and whatnot, different companies like that. From the Ballers World aspect, we are, like I said, we just signed that distribution deal.
Yeah.
So now we're in the process, like all these different, because of this opportunity, our whole mindset is let's bless all these people around us who are making this basketball content and who are just doing it for free. Everybody on social media, if you have these people have 1 million followers and don't make a dime, you know what I mean? They don't know how to monetize it properly. So let's use our distribution platform. And if your content is dope and it fits what we're doing, throw it on our platform and we'll make you a partner and you can make money off your stuff, because now we have a distribution deal. We can attach brands to it and make some real money finally off this. It's not just for fun and passion. No, we actually monetize it properly now. So, hey, content creator person that's doing this amazing thing on social media that a lot of people know about, but you're still, you know, living in a studio apartment or at your mom's house, you know.
Yeah.
We have an opportunity for you to do what you do, distribute it through us, and now we're partners. So we have a lot of content creators, you know, that are trying to work with us now, because a lot of times, you know, the social media is the Wild West. People are just taking content and it goes everywhere. So we're trying to create a platform or an opportunity for these people to control that and to monetize that and to have ownership and to create ownership with your content and distribute it out to the world, man, for people to see what's going on in not only America but across the world internationally.
Man, that is fresh. So sounds like I'm so impressed that your shoes are everywhere. You have Nordstrom, you have that's an impressive distribution already.
Thank
You have Ballers World. You guys are now getting all this content coming in from content creators. You're giving opportunities to new people that have never had them before, right? Which has always been part of your game plan, this community. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and we've done some stuff with the Boys and Girls Club and YMCA, things of that nature as well. So, you know, it's really, really important. And I think with the content creation piece, you know, we're actually, if it's a key influencer and we know now how to tie a sale to that influencer, we want to make sure that influencer is recognized financially for being able to.
I was watching Ballers World the other day and I was like, man, how are these guys doing such great content?
Oh, thank you for watching.
Yeah. I was like, how are they doing this? Because I'm like, I know how hard it is.
Yeah, no
right?
doubt,
Like,
no doubt.
It's way harder than people think. Again.
Yeah.
And to make great content that people love it's not easy. So
we were blessed
I'm
too
impressed.
because we were associated. At that time, we were associated with ESPN Radio San Diego. So, you know, just being able to have ESPN as, you know, small, but and with the connections that he has, the people that I know, the people that our other associates have, it actually became fun and funny for he and I, because people was coming up to us saying, how come I haven't been on the show yet? Because it wasn't like we had a budget to be paying people. We didn't want to disrespect you. So certain people that we knew, they were like, how come I ain't on the show? I'm like, I can't pay you. So, but they could see the energy, because I think, and you speak to this even better than I do, but kind of describe the culture and the environment around the show.
Again, lifestyle, authenticity. We didn't want just a radio show where it's two people sitting there, three people sitting there talking. Like, no, if you look at the shows, we had an environment, and when we switched studios, it wasn't on camera as much, but we tried to create it where we have the DJ. We have a crowd of people there who are hanging out, having drinks, eating food, having a good time. So it's that vibe, and that's what got people. That's what turned people on. They would come in and they were just sitting there and they're like, "Yo, the vibe of this is crazy. I've never been on a radio show like this. I never had, and we're filming it like the Breakfast Club, so we have the visual aspect of it as well. But we wanted to create that atmosphere that was, again, authentic to the culture, and so. Yeah, so people are quiet while we're airing, but as soon as we go to commercial break, DJ turns up his music, people are pouring drinks, hanging out, we got the girls there, the drinks, the music, everybody's having a good time. So it was atmosphere. Papa Shop, we just created this whole vibe. Like you're just building this culture and this authentic lifestyle that we wanted to portray and to resonate on TV because we're filming it. And the other aspect of the show, of the initial Balls Were Live show, is our main thing was quality.
Oh, absolutely.
We were like, look, we're not gonna make a lot of money off this because our reach is small, and I mean, we're new to this game, but let's make sure our quality is comparable to everybody else out there. It's not gonna be your typical internet YouTube show where it looks fuzzy or the sound is messed up. Like, no, we got 4K Black Magics. Yeah. We got everybody's lobbed up properly. We got the mics, we got the signage, we got the mic flags. So we're gonna spend a lot of money producing this. My wife, was pissed at me for a lot of stuff. Yeah. But at the same time,
kind of people was pissed at me because I'm supposed to be sitting somewhere there's the OG rich.
but at the same time, that goes back to again where you have to say, all right, are we willing to make the sacrifice? And you only are willing to make sacrifices for things if you truly love it and are passionate about it. If you don't love it and you're passionate about it, you're gonna be like, oh, that didn't work, F it, I'm done. But because we're passionate about it, like, nah, I'm gonna sacrifice this. I'll come out of pocket and pay for this. I'll make sure, hey, Rob, can you pull some cheese together so we can get this? I got kids, and I can't do it this time. So that was the conversations we're having, because we didn't want to take funding up front initially because I don't want to lose.
Whole different game.
We don't want to lose total control.
And we would become what already exists.
And they're because the VC wants ROI quick as possible. And they don't care about brand building and culture, and I get that, and that's fine. But we didn't want to do that because, again, authentic lifestyle culture creation was our main thing. That was our
well, when you know what you want, it's a whole different. I was working with an entrepreneur this morning, and he talked to a bunch of investors. They're willing to give him a lot of money, but they want something totally different than what he's building.
Right.
And I'm like, hey man, I just want you to be really sure that's
you work for them now.
Yeah. If you take this money, I just want you to be really sure that you actually want to build this thing that they are telling you to build.
And that's why a term I use a lot. We're definitely interested in like-minded investors, but the key is the prefix there, like-minded. So if you're like-minded and you see and you're impressed with what we're doing, and I think we've all experienced this before, where you see a company, a TV show, a business, a brand, and all of a sudden you say, they like it, and then you find out later on, as people used to say in the old days, they changed hands.
Yeah.
I mean, and one.
Yeah.
But
they're doing really, really well now. But it's a whole different mentality because they in the footwear industry and probably in most industries that sell through segments and brick and mortar, they're a downstairs brand now. So they're doing well in Walmart. But I don't have experience or from a business aspect. That used to be funny to me too, because when those people came in, the VCs and all of that, and they would explain that market to me, and I'm laughing because you're explaining the market to me that you don't shop in, but you do business there. You don't think I ever been to Walmart before? Come on, man.
Yeah.
But I don't know that's not what I do. I've worked with the sporting goods and aspirational.
When you have a vision, if you're lucky enough to have a vision, or you've done the work to have a vision, you have to hold on to that thing and protect it. And people are going to come out of the woodwork to challenge your vision.
Right.
And every day you're going to be tempted right? Just like my guy this morning is tempted to take the $3 million, but guess what? You're building you
work
just
for
told me
them.
that wasn't what you
Right.
wanted to build.
Right.
So are you sure now that the guy's offering you $3 million, you want to build that?
Well, see, we got validation a lot because when you have people who you know would be your consumer that actually say to you, like we've had countless people say, "Can I intern for you?" Because they see it and they want to be a part of it, and that's gratifying to us. But at the same time, I think in business we've all been screwed over, and we talk about this constantly. You know, where we want to make sure that if you do help us and you do support us, we're not going to get amnesia. You know, it's not about that. You know, but at the same time, we want to be teaching and learning. Because for me, it's been amazing that I've learned so much, but I know that I've taught a lot at the same time. Because if you don't do that in the course of your life and in the course of the day, you've wasted your time.
Yeah.
We got to kind of go back to what you were saying. We all the time. It's like, you know, basketball. That's a niche. You should do all sports. You should do this. Like, then I mean, yeah, that makes sense I get it from a VC mindset. Like, get the bigger market, right? But who are you going up against then? You're competing against all these other people. No, you need. Eyes on the flies. Like, dominate your domain. Own that domain. And it's not like we're saying this is, you know, people who like to pop bottles. It's like a small, you know, niche. This is a $30 billion a year, you know, on just the apparel alone. You know?
And this is what
And
you
you're
love.
talking-
This
it's
is
what I
your
love.
passion.
So I'm
Like, that's the thing.
And so
Your life,
because
man,
because
you know?
if I don't have that passion for it, all the times when my wife looking at me crazy or we have or something goes horribly wrong, or one of these dealing with a celebrity or an athlete and that personality, they don't show up or they don't come through on something for whatever, and you got to scramble to make it happen. You're only gonna deal with that if you love it.
Yeah.
You're only gonna deal with that.
Yeah. I don't want money to change my vision. Like,
No.
what?
No.
It's just money.
Yeah.
Like,
And if you do it long enough, if you do it proper, and the quality is there, and the authenticity is there, and then people will realize the sacrifice is there, everything you need will eventually come to you.
yeah.
You just have to stick to it, consistent.
And we've pivoted again. Like we did 30 1-hour episodes. 30 every week. And it was a scramble. It was a scramble because of the radio association with ESPN, he had to work really, really hard with a small group of people to take that audio from the show that we streamed on Instagram and Facebook and take that audio and prep it so it would be on ESPN radio the subsequent Sunday. But that was a cycle that never stopped, because as soon as we might get a day, we got to start then planning and preparing for the next episode. And you know, and sometimes
You ain't getting paid for this.
yeah, and sometimes, you know, we had a situation once where somebody who's a really close friend of the brand actually had an opportunity to go and audition for a small role on a sitcom. Well, then they couldn't show up, and then we had to scramble and figure out what we were going to do. And we got through it.
Yeah.
And sometimes those situations ended up being better shows.
Yeah.
You know, our host ended up on Love and Hip Hop LA.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so one episode was him on as our host, and then he left and changed his look, and our co-host interviewed him as the person from the show. So that was one of the funniest shows. Yeah. Then he came out acting all extra Hollywood. Hey, what's going on? And all like that. But he came on in the beginning in his normal persona of the show. So that level of creativity.
Without losing the cultural relevance.
Yeah.
It was still part of it.
And then to his point, you know, it wasn't like it's the whole culture. So we had a lot of comedians that come on. We had singers on. We had people tied into civil rights. We had people who were just game changers in their space.
We had Freeway Ricky Ross.
Yeah, we had Freeway Ricky Ross.
of all time.
Yeah.
All these people came.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, that was amazing to have him on the show. You know, but that's part of that. We just think about, if you're a hooper, are you interested in that? Yeah. And that's the culture in itself. Right. And it's like I've always told people in my family, you know, and I think all of us have been what I'm about to describe. You know, sometimes for Father's Day or Christmas or whatever, you know, you give somebody pajamas, you know, because men, we're always really hard to buy stuff for. You know, you buy them. I said, no, I'm walking around the crib, I got hoop shorts on. 'Cause I still got that mentality. Somebody might say something, and I need to be ready. So I don't give me no pajamas, and then I wear hoop gear.
If I could wear basketball shorts and slides everywhere on earth, I would, dude.
Yeah.
Straight up.
All right.
Right? I wouldn't wear anything else, man. I
Yeah.
promise you.
Yeah.
I got about 1,000 questions, man. I know.
Oh man, yeah. I was thinking you would just say, yeah, please.
I mean, I really was just soaking all that up because I didn't know. Like, he hit me like, man, I got this guy named Rob, big shoe guy, but I didn't know like all of this. So it's fascinating hearing y'all's story. For both of y'all, I got about 1,000 questions. So, like, you particularly, what was before Ballers World? Like, how did you even? What's the? Because like you talked a lot about the history of you. Like, all I know is Ballers World and up. So how did you get there?
He just hatched out of an egg. That's how a lot of people like to try to tell their story too. You know.
I from LA and play ball around here, all area player, man. Like I told you, I was a D2 level. Basketball wasn't that good.
Where do you play high school?
St. Bernard's High School. You ever seen The Wood?
Yeah.
That's my high school. That's pretty much the whole neighborhood.
Okay.
You know, so when I played high school, I was a D2 level guy. I had some offers, but I got into Michigan academically, so I went to Michigan. That didn't work out with basketball as a walk-on, so I just graduated from Michigan. Went to law school, was interning with some of the top agents in the industry. Like, you name the top 3 or 4 guys, I worked with all of them. So, doing the marketing for a lot of the players. This was early 2000s. So I was doing that, working with those guys. After what I saw working with one of the biggest firms that they not only had basketball players, they had entertainers. So I'm like, man, all this stuff is kind of the same thing. It all goes hand in hand. You don't have to just be this, you don't have to just be that. It's all one. It's all entertainment at the end of the day. So I thought I wanted to go out on an entrepreneurial spirit. I was like, I love these guys. Everybody's cool. This is fun getting to be around the draft day and all the cool stuff that goes along with working with agents. And I said, man, I could do my own thing. I know a lot of these guys. A lot of my dudes that I knew are going to the league or overseas. So I started my own company where I had a micro boutique agency. I was sending guys overseas. I was representing guys on marketing deals, NFL, football, DJs, rappers, everything out here in LA. And again, I became one of the, and through all the artists and the athletes and the entertainers I was dealing with, I was booking them for shows and doing things like this. And man, we could do our own stuff. Right. So we started within that company. We started promoting concerts and producing concerts for a lot of our talent, and then bringing, that was the whole marketing plan. Like, look, I'm gonna bring in, who was hot then, E40 or Too Short or somebody, and I'm gonna use my guys and my DJs are gonna be opening for them and doing all this. We're gonna have a sellout spot in the crowd here, and then build their brands that way. But we're also making money off the show as well. Right. So we're doing that for a while, for about 5 years or so. And
what's the name of?
It was New Breed. New Breed Entertainment. And from that point, I was, again, my entrepreneurial spirit, I was like, I'm sitting there doing these shows for these guys, like, and I only get to take away the tickets and like 15% of the bar, like, and they making 50, 60 racks at the bar right now. I want to own a spot. So, got the capital together and bought into BB King's Universal Studios in LA. So I was one of the managing partners at the LA franchise of the BB King's Blues Club. So they had them in LA, New York, Orlando, Memphis. I think that was it. In Vegas, I think. And we had the LA one, but unfortunately after 2008, the crash happened. So, and our business was built on discretionary income, and Universal Studios wanted to raise the rent on us, so it just made sense to shut it down. And when that happened, that kind of opened my eyes to, I needed to have, I was like, you know what, this is cool, this is fun. And I was having a lot of fun being in that space, man. It was a great time. But the fact that my business was so influenced by the economy, and I was young, I was like 26 when this was all going down. I was like 26, 27. And I said, you know what, I can't have this happen again. What can I do that's going to, and this is going to be the crazy part, what can I do that's going to protect me from the economy crashing again and just kind of destroying everything we're doing? So I was like, I want to get into technology. And So my brother, who I was talking to my family about it, because if I do this, I got to go back to school and I'm gonna stop everything I'm doing because I want to learn how to program. I want to learn all these different skill sets that I can own my own own my own destiny and take charge of.
You want to own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a good employee. So that was also why the VC thing scared me. I said, I'm not a good employee.
Yeah.
So let me wait till I have some leverage and they actually listen to what I say. But so with I was like, I need to get into technology, man, because this is the future, and I don't have any skill set in this. I'm gonna get left behind. And my brother, after saying the school thing, I was like, I already got my MBA. I don't want to have any debt. I'm like, this is gonna kill me. I don't want to do another $200,000 in debt. I can't do it. My brother was like, dude, he said, if you go to the military, you can go to school for free, and you can be working on the technology stuff, and then you get paid while you're doing it. And I'm like, hell no, man. I'm 28 years old, 29 years old, or whatever at this point. And then I think about it, and I'm like, you know what? My body still works. I'm still in shape. I'm still going up to UCLA killing these dudes. Like I still got it a little bit. All right. If I do this, I got to stop everything and sell everything I'm doing and just stop. So my brother convinced me to. I said, all right, I'll do it if I can get into technology. So it was either Navy or Air Force. I said, let me go see what they're talking about. And opportunity presented itself with the Navy where I can do satellite communications, meaning, all the satellite comms and working with NASA and all the different things out in the ocean. So I was like, all right, I'll do that. But you got to sign a contract. It's 6 years. I was like, fuck. That's like a 6-year contract. That's a long time to be committed to this. But school will probably take me another 2 or 3, and then, I'll be in debt. So you know what? All right, let me do this. So I stopped everything, went in the Navy, and as a satellite comms tech, learned how to program, learned about fiber optics, learned networking, learned computers, building, everything, cybersecurity, learned everything about technology you could possibly. I'm a certified engineer if I want to be at this point. So certified electrician, if I want to at this point. So I did that for 6 years, and while I was in the military, we're traveling around all over the place, and I'm like, dude, it'll be cool. Actually, no way. It was funny. We're in the car, and I was looking at the Waze app, and I'm like, dang, that's cool that it's showing us driving and it has all the buildings. I said, what if it showed basketball courts everywhere? So everywhere I go, I know there's basketball courts. And I was like, okay, hold on, wait a minute. My legs start shaking. So I was like, I think this might be dope. I said, is there anything out there like that right now? No? Oh, yeah, okay, hold on. So one of my guys I served with, his name is Nick. I went up to him. He's the smartest dude. We call him Neo. He's like the Matrix. This dude is a tech. Yeah. He programs like 30 different languages. It's insane. Yeah. So we were both in the same division as satellite communication guys. And I said, hey man, is this possible? What if we found every court on Earth and we have it in the map and it pops up no matter where you are and it tells you where it's around and gives you the miles and the distance and you can get to it. He was like, yeah. I said, oh, you say no more. I said, hey man, I got an idea. You want to be partners on it? Let's do it. And that's how Ballers World was created. We're up at the top. The company we started with was called 05 Level Innovations. And what the 05 level is, in the Navy, when you're on a ship, you have the main deck. And everything below is a solid number. So you go first deck, second deck, third deck, fourth deck, fifth deck, sixth deck. So you're like in the bottom of the ship, like the bottom of the hull. And then when you go up, it goes 01, 02, 03, 04, 05 level. Every day we would finish our work, and we used to get in trouble for this all the time because we had our computers. So once we're done, whatever we're in the middle of the ocean, we pull out our computers and we go to the 05 level, the highest point on the ship, which is where we had all the access to because that's where all the satellites are and everything. So we would go to the 05 level, and we'd be up there, 30-page business plans, and he's over there programming the MVP. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll help you when you need me to. So I help find the course. I was Derek Fisher. He was Kobe as far as the coding goes. I'll help you when you need me to, and I'll come through in the clutch when you need me to. So I'll be over here handling this business plan and putting the marketing plan together. So he's coding. We're up there, 2 guys at the top of the satellites up there just hiding from everybody because we finished all our work. He's doing what he does. I'm doing what I do. And then we put it together, and then we launched Ballers World. And from Ballers World, I skipped the whole thing, I'm sorry. In between all that, while I was in the military, my partners from BB King's, we opened up another restaurant in Beverly Hills because we still had our liquor license and everything. They still have it now, actually. In Beverly Hills off Rodeo Drive, Camden and Rodeo right there in Wilshire and Santa Monica. It was called Home, House of Music and Entertainment. We're right up the street from Mr. Child's. And across from Villa Blanca and the Wells Fargo right there. We're right there. And we were there for about 4 years, from 2013 to 2012, 2016. So we shut it down last spring. 2016 again. It's going too fast. So it was 2 years ago now, 2 springs ago. So I was doing that while I was in the military because I was stationed in San Diego, so I was able to go back and forth to LA a lot and do that. So fast forward back to Ballers World, we're gonna launch Ballers World, and we had our MVP. We said let's just throw it at CES in Las Vegas and see what happens. We won best mobile app, we won best GPS location app, we won all these different awards for it, like 10 different awards. We won an honorable mention at the Webbies. But then I realized that just geolocation of courts wasn't scalable. It just wasn't scalable for the business aspect. It was fun and it was cute. It's a good feature, but it shouldn't be the main attraction. And then that kind of led to the conversation of, hey, maybe we should aggregate content. Maybe we should, we're talking with Rob, like maybe we should just, like, fuck it, Rob, like, create our own content. You have experience in this space. I got experience in this space. You know people. I know people. Aggregating it was getting a lot of attention and traffic to the app. But again, not making any money because it's not your content. So we're like, let's just start creating our own content. And once we did that, that's when everything we're talking about with Ballers World, we made that pivot to the media creation side. And once we got our first check from a sponsor, it's like, we just got paid to make content. I think we need to be making content. That's kind of what the conversation
we got a check.
Right, exactly. And that's on our own, right?
Yeah.
So we got that check, and it's like, we need to be doing this. So obviously, we have something here that's good enough for one of these billion-dollar companies to cut us a check. They feel good enough about what we're doing, and we're just starting at this. And all these companies out here who got VC money, they ain't even made a dime yet in revenue. They just somehow got VC money from an idea. But they haven't made a dime in revenue, and we've already generated our own revenue. So, hey guys, I think we need to go down this route. And then let's keep the basketball court things. That was our reason to exist. Let's make it a feature in the app. I mean, not the app, in the website. We're saying, we don't really need the app anymore now because mobile web is so good. You could just build out a dope mobile website and a website that go together and just have the courts be an API within the website. So you can go find courts and stuff if you still want to, but we're giving you dope content. We're going to give you, hot content. And I wish I could pull up the site now, but we got hacked and we're changing the servers and doing everything right now to get it back up. But, because you'll see exactly what I was talking about. But, so we made that pivot into content, and then from the radio show, we got the offer from the distribution deal for the TV show. And that's how Ballers World went.
Well, first of all, I asked that because I had a feeling like it was a crazy story. As I listened to you talk privately about Ballers World, I'm like, something's not adding up. That's
real crazy story.
So Ballers World is fairly new, like.
Yeah, the app we did that was 2015, like some years or so.
Yeah,
it was like 2015 or so. That's when we did the mobile. That's when we did the courts finding app, or 14 or whatever that was. It was that year. And then the content side of it was January 2017. So almost
last year.
Yeah, last year.
So you started in the Navy in what? 09?
10.
10. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Nah,
Right.
most people don't. Everybody
was a good question.
Everybody was like,
Yeah.
"You crazy."
Yeah.
I was like, "What are you doing?" It's in the middle of wars and Iraq,
Right.
all this stuff going on. And I was kind of nervous, like I'm doing this, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I could end up in a bad situation,
Yeah, sure.
Overseas somewhere. But I was fortunate enough, man. Once I'll tell you this, they told me, they said, if you finish in the top of your class, and because there's a lot of it was training, because we're outside of the Navy SEALs, our job is the second most strenuous training that they do. I remember saying, they said, look, if you finish the top of your class, you can pick where you get stationed at. I was like, word? Oh, that's what I'm saying, no more. Like, I'm a proper motivation guy. You motivate me properly, like, okay, that's all I got to do, and I can pick. I said, first I'm going to see if I go to LA, but you can pick where you give your top 3 choices, and obviously still the needs of the military, but they'll pretty much put you in one of those places. So I picked a couple of LA bases around the area, but San Diego, it's a huge base down there.
Yeah.
That's the main one.
Where did you start it? Like,
Chicago.
Chicago.
I was in Chicago for a year and a half, and then I went from Chicago to San Diego, and then from San Diego, in the middle of that, I was in New Orleans for a year, and then because we were building a new ship.
Yeah.
So since you scored high, you won the high school, we want you to build a new ship. It's one of the new stealth models of these ships that they have. And so I was doing all the satellite comms and installation and computer stuff, and they said, bring it back to San Diego. So from that point, I was in San Diego up until I just got out last September.
Okay.
2000.
So when we started working together, he was still in.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then for me, I understood all of that because I never was in the military, but my father was in the military. He was in the Navy for like 30 years, and my father lived in San Diego. So
juggling all that.
Yeah.
So we're in the middle. It's like, Rob, hey man, we gotta go out there. We gotta go do some shit with NASA. I'm being in the middle of the ocean for a month, dog.
I think
It's like, so
and, and at that point, you might know this brand. You may as well. But are you familiar with Hoka?
Oh, of course.
Well, at that time, I was head of product for Hoka.
That's what I was trying to get you to say, man. I mean, Hoka's big deal, man.
Yeah.
Hoka's a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that brand grew from 2 million to 100 million from 2012 until 2016, 17.
The best part about Hoka was when people started seeing people wearing those Hokas, they're like, "What the fuck is that?"
Right.
And I thought that was perfect, man. I mean, you got people talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
The
I'll
first
tell
time
you.
I saw those was
Well, see, I'll tell you, for obvious reasons, I super enjoy building basketball shoes.
yeah.
But for me, I only can speak for myself. If you don't know how to build running shoes, you don't know how to build no other shoes. Because running shoes that's the category that made the whole sneaker industry explode. Like Nike's really a running shoe company.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And when you look at the running shoe brands, and this has changed, but generally technology, and I don't even like to use the word technology because a lot of times technology in footwear is some shiny bauble that you put in the shoe, and if it don't mess you up, they call it technical. But for the sake of this conversation, technology is usually launched in running shoes and then it spreads to the other categories. That's starting to change now.
Yeah.
So you're starting to see some technologies being launched.
Well, I've noticed that Nike's never strayed from running. Like you can feel that it's at its core.
Mhm.
And I didn't know the reason, but that makes sense. With
Yeah,
what
that's
you're
when
saying, right?
when jogging became the thing in the 70s. That's when it went from you wearing sneakers only when you had PE to people just actually wearing them, just like we do now.
Yeah.
We don't even think about the difference. So I've always kind of watched that really, really closely. And when I came into the game, it was still dominated with people who had elevated to executive roles that were in the game because of running. And that's one of the things that I think have always made basketball as a category struggle and make it so that Nike stays consistently dominant. Because a lot of times when you go to different brands, the people who work in the basketball category at that brand don't reflect the culture. Mm-hmm. Like when I worked at Adi, I would be in meetings and you do these different line reviews. Throughout the course of the day, they'll be like, from 1 to 3, we're going to review running. And from 3 to 5, we're going to review basketball, whatever the case may be. And the dudes that was from soccer, I was always blown away because they would literally walk in straight off the pitch. Sometimes you'd be like, man, because they pull it off and they get to talking about it. That wouldn't happen in basketball. It would be like, some dude that wrestled in high school.
Yeah.
That's from like Wisconsin. I'm like, dude. Because, in order to have the cultural affiliation, then the looks of the people who work in there is going to be different.
Yeah.
In soccer, that's not a problem.
Right.
And in all of the other categories, in running, for sure, it's a bunch of little skinny dudes who run 100 miles a week. And that's cool, but that's where I learned. I learned how to build running shoes first. And that's and those are, the running shoe consumer is the most critical when it comes to the shoe.
When you edit this, you gotta put his title, CEO of TCG, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta put in parentheses the historian.
You don't even know,
I tried to warn you. I was like, man, Rob can tell some pretty good stories.
You educated me. I don't know anything that you're saying right now.
Yeah.
Just Nike's a running company.
Yeah, originally, yeah. That's how I got started.
The first original shoe company, all of that.
Yeah, all that stuff is important, man, because if you're coming into the game and you don't know, you can't stay, like all the stuff he did, he knows. Nobody can come to him and talk to him about that stuff. Right. So if you know it, and it makes it so that when you do these things that we do, people want to be around it, people want to talk to you, people want to hear from you, people want to interact with you because they know that you love what you're doing and you know something about how it got from there to here. You know, and we laugh a lot because we watch stuff on TV and we be like, yo, he didn't even know what he was talking about. You know, I won't even name names, but certain commentators on TV, I'm like, you don't even, and be talking like with, you know, like they know. And if I don't know, I say I don't.
Yeah.
That's, you know, a guy that put me into the footwear industry, he said, after I got hired and I was going out in the field, he said, if they ask you a question, he said, you go in a retailer and they ask you a question and you don't know, say you don't know.
Right.
That's going to give you credibility.
Right.
He said, if they ask you another question and you don't know, say you don't know. If they ask you the third question, make something up. You can't sit in there and not know nothing.
So while you build TCG, are you like still open to working with brands?
Yeah, I still consult.
Okay. Are you still connected with Anwar? Like the current?
I know them, but I'm not connected with them from officially, but I do know them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got a question for you then. When you were with them, was this during early 2000s?
The trip in mid. Yeah. He was still there when I got there.
So obviously that's all of those Piston guys. That's my family.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that's on my agenda from a guy named Ben Wallace.
Okay.
He's like, man, if you can get
His shoes was the joints.
he
Probably should talk to KG
okay.
because KG now he has some title with them.
Oh, really?
He's the president,
Yeah.
now, right?
Well, some I don't,
Yeah.
but it's something. It might be that.
Right.
But he has some high level influence because
Okay.
they just less than 6 months ago they actually brought him in to try to resurrect the brand.
Okay.
And on his show, Area 21, it's all and one out.
Yeah. I
So-
saw a picture of him with them or something.
Yeah. So I would probably have him talk to them because the big issue is this. And again, if it wasn't family, I wouldn't even say none of this stuff. The big hit is how are they going to distribute it? Because for his shoe to get relaunched, they have to have a different level of distribution because to my understanding, they still are just selling brick and mortar inside Walmart. But Walmart is trying to compete with Amazon now. So Walmart online, Walmart.com,
Yeah.
you can get product that's at a higher level of distribution. But if I was Ben Wallace, I would talk to him. Or if I was Ben Wallace, I would have Ben Wallace talk to you, to talk to Michelle, to talk to Spencer, because there's no reason why Ben Wallace can't create some stuff that, with the DNA of why he loved it, he can move that over and get his own thing going. And I think people, when you look at the lack of players of his ilk that are out now, he could sell some product.
Well, the second option is what I'm really trying to get at because me and Ben are definitely going to do some stuff with Ben. I was just wondering if it would be like, we would need a strategist to make it all come together. So
I know a shoe guy actually.
Right.
I would love to.
Okay.
I would love to. Yeah, because he's.
You know what shoe I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely know the shoe.
I know it in Detroit alone.
Yeah.
You said 1,000 pair of those shoes right now.
Oh yeah, it's no doubt about it. That's why I would be super excited to work on that.
Okay.
And,
We gotta figure that out.
Yeah, we will.
No, that would be dope. That would be real dope.
Yeah, and I think that's this is the age for this is the golden era for a project like that.
Collaborations and work.
Yeah, collaborations.
20 years
retro,
ago, it would have been a
retro.
Oh, for sure. 20
Like
years ago.
players controlling distribution,
Right.
new stuff,
Sharing the
right?
economy. Yep.
The whole deal.
Because I would,
It's like, now's
to
the
me,
time.
I'm gonna be real. I wouldn't go down that road only because, again, I work really hard not to make disparaging comments about brands and all that kind of stuff. Because one thing I learned in the footwear industry, and I've seen this bite people. It never got me, but I've seen this bite people. The one thing about footwear is you could be at a footwear company and I work for you, and then me and you go to another company and it'd be the exact opposite.
Yeah.
But I might have said something. I'd be like, Ben, fuck you, Ben.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, all of a sudden they'd be like, and the new boss of the whole company is Ben Smith. I seen that. So I'll tell you a real quick story that happened. So this guy, and he and I are getting ready to work with this guy now, because this happened a long time ago and got over it. So this guy, he was working at Nike, worked at Nike for like 15 years. Had a reasonably decent job. It was okay. It was a high profile job. It wasn't a big deal inside the company, but it was high profile to the streets.
Yeah.
To the streets, what he was doing, okay? So he turns around and he leaves and he joins Converse. But when he left Nike and he joined Converse, it just wasn't on good terms. He just basically was like, I'm out. He just didn't really just segue out. So he's at Converse, and like less than a year after he goes to Converse, Nike bought Converse.
Uh,
So he got shot like almost immediately, right? And he struggled really bad from it. So I learned from watching him, just bow out gracefully. You don't need to, you don't need to go do nothing like that.
We have that in tech world all the time.
Right. So I will say this.
Yeah.
If I'm Ben, I would want to do it, get it done, but I would stay as far away from M1 as possible.
That's his style anyway. He wouldn't want to do it corporately, like going through them. He would want to like wholesale.
I only say that because of their distribution and how they sullied the brand.
All right.
You know, because they are making more money than they probably made before. So you're familiar with Carlisle?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but that's the VC that came in. They if they're not the biggest, they're one of the three biggest.
They're pretty big.
So that's who really came in, and they're gotta flip it.
No, but I hear what you're saying though. It should be thought of creatively, right? Like that's what I'm hearing you say.
But to me, Ben is the brand.
Yeah.
Ben
Don't
is
think of
the
it as a traditional thing. Think of it as
Yeah.
if we get creative, we put on some good hats.
All right.
We might be able to do it a new, interesting way,
Yeah.
a trailblazing way.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
And what I can guarantee you is if he were to do some type of performance-esque type footwear, I can execute that as good as any of those brands. Because that's the other problem that you see, because I've seen other people in the past come along and do their thing, but it don't be as good as, one of the big three or the big four, whatever. But my sourcing connections are on the same par as what they do.
So what like sparked this topic is he's been talking about that for years now, like past 5 years. Like, man, we were right there. KG, Chauncey, Stephon Marbury, Rayford Austin, me, like, you know what I'm saying? It was like anyone should have took off. So he has his thoughts as to what went wrong, similar to what you're saying in terms of
Because when Seth and them sold it, they sold it to a group down in Orange County, and the group in Orange County, they were shoe people.
Yeah.
But being in basketball is very different than the other categories because you have to have a huge budget to do it right because the marketing is expensive and endorsements and all of that kind of stuff plays into it. Like I just saw, you sent it to me, I think, yeah, which was smart.
Lifetime deal.
Yeah,
which was smart. And I know those guys really well. The dude who's the general manager of the U.S. and I don't know him well, but the guy who's the actual CEO of the company, I know him also. So that was a smart move for them to do that because look what's happening now. So to me, I think when you look at the end of the day, because of Detroit, because of Ben, what he represents, who he is, he could sell.
Right.
He could sell. I mean, there's no reason why not because he's got a unique image in the history of the game.
You just brought up an interesting topic. Currently, because this is another thing I wanted to ask you, like, if you had to address the state of affairs in the current shoe game, a thing that I've been educated on over the past year with being involved with the sports industry is anytime right now you talk about a shoe contract, the first thing you're going to hear is big men don't sell. Do you agree with that?
Historically, yes. But I think what's happening right now with the game becoming a positionless player, you're going to see big men selling because the reason why big men didn't sell historically is because big men never used to do things that people think they can imitate.
Right.
If I'm 7'2" and I just drop step and turn and dunk on people, like I always use this as an example, and it was very, very, very real distance of my memory because I'm not that old. But I never, ever, ever thought about wanting to be Will Chamberlain.
Right.
Why would I? You open up any record book, he's the whole page.
Right.
Me and my little brother, what we used to do all the time when we was kids, because we ain't had no internet or nothing, every now and then we would just go grab a record book and me and him would sit next to each other and we would read and go, Will Chamberlain, Will Chamberlain, Will Chamberlain, Will Chamberlain, Joe Russell, Will Chamberlain, Will Chamberlain, Will Chamberlain. We just would sit there and do that with each other and just laugh, because he's from West Philly.
Yeah.
But I mean, when he retired, he had 96 records. It got to be like in the 70s by now, which is still stupid.
Right.
But the reason why big men didn't sell was mainly because you can't look at that and aspire to be there.
Of course.
I remember when I used to be in China a lot when Yao Ming was around, and I really liked Yao Ming. I liked him a lot. I was a fan because I thought Yao Ming was amazing. To be that tall and be able to shoot foul shots and have a drop step and a fadeaway, you shooting the technicals for the team and you 7'7".
Right.
It was like, yo, everybody I knew in China was like, can't stand. Because they wanted a Jordan, Kobe type of guy.
That's interesting that
Because they love Michael Jordan. They love Kobe Bryant. They wanted a guy like that.
and they love Jeremy Lin.
Yeah. And right now there's a Chinese guy over there who's in China, he's Steph-esque.
Yep. They call him Chinese Irishman.
Yeah.
I was in China this summer.
Yeah. So you saw him because he got commercials and everything.
Yeah. It was it's a rep from Anta that I'm close with. And
Oh, Ansel was a sponsor for us for our show for a while.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he was just to reiterate what you were saying. I asked him the same thing because we were discussing the player maybe that Anta could have wanted to do a deal with, but he said the same thing, like, you know, not interested in big men or whatever. And
Yeah. They're a little bit behind us because I think when you look at, I'm not saying this person will because it depends on the brand and depends on the people you have on your team, but I believe that Embiid could sell shoes.
right, personality.
Social media. He's straight social media.
Yeah, I see Embiid could sell shoes. I think that I think Ayton, when he evolves, he'll be able to sell shoes.
Right.
I think Mo Bamba is intellectual enough to be able to figure out how to solve that problem because, from my understanding, he's an incredibly intelligent guy.
Yeah, I think Jordan has a connection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would love to because when I'm looking at what they do, because it's really about what you do,
Right.
and now that social media is what it is, you can more laser target to a specific consumer.
Right.
So I think, in a simplistic way, the key is to get that social media following up to a number where that number we always hear, whatever your number is, about 1% of those people will buy. So if your number is big enough and you can justify creating the tools, everything that Spencer's done right now.
Totally.
So,
Totally.
we've already got a proven thing that we've done.
Yeah.
And, but I think that those guys, the guys that are coming up now, I think this positionless thing is actually advantageous to what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that the reason why the table is really set and why I think it's a great time frame now is I look at the endorsement situation almost third worldish.
Right.
You got like 5 dudes at the top that make as much or more money from their endorsements than they do from their NBA salary. And then you got this just nothing. Because the days of the $500,000 a year dude seems to be gone. And I think that's the
30,000 is a product.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's the trap that Kawhi unintentionally fell into. Because from what I understand, he was getting about that much. And I don't know if he signed with anybody yet. I haven't heard anything.
I'm not sure.
And and I was talking to his people for a while, but it was about the uncle. And even the people around him wanted to mess with us,
Yeah.
but they kept talking about the uncle. And I don't know what's happening with the uncle situation, but I understand, and I think that people who are trying to create in a short period of time what LeBron solely created over 15 years, that's not fair to these people because you see all of these fake LeBron groups
Totally.
that are popping up now, but that doesn't happen like that. You have to. I look at myself as being really perfect for that kind of situation because I've been with those major brands, but I've done entrepreneurial stuff too. And one of the things that you struggle with is if you do grab somebody and they come directly out of one of the established corporations and they haven't had to do the peanut butter and jelly thing,
Yeah.
they can't help you. They can't because they're just a cog in the wheel. They can't help you. But for me, I'm like, I know, let's go.
Yeah.
So when we went over there, it was cool and everything was very productive and it worked out really well and he was able to take advantage of the situation. I look at a guy like Ben, he's different, he's iconic. The other person that I actually believe, and he's a good friend of mine, and he's a lifetime Nike dude, obviously, so it would be difficult for him with a guy like Rashid.
Yeah.
But he's so Air Force One.
Yeah. It's just all
Yeah.
day.
But he used to wear my stuff a lot at practice.
Really?
Yeah, he's an interesting guy because I would be like, yo man, you got that dude? And he said, no, I'll test your stuff because he only wears a 13. So he was like, give me your stuff. He was from Portland.
Yeah.
I used to be like, but you can't. They ain't gonna do nothing to me. I ain't saying I'm gonna wear it in the game, but he would give me some feedback on fit testing and wear testing and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but him and Spencer wear the same size,
Yeah.
which is interesting because Rashid is 6'11".
Yeah. Very funny.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, 13? I wear a 13, to be honest with you.
Yeah. 13. But footwork was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Post game was off the charts. IQ was high as it could be, but that kind of got hidden a lot of times because of how he came off and all that kind of. We all know how that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we should definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's why he wanted me to meet you. So
Yeah.
No, it's good for all of us to sit down because there's so much stuff going on, and I mean, you guys are doing more stuff than that. I mean, that's what I like, just the hustle.
yeah.
I love guys who just do stuff.
Well, if you're available on the 3rd, you should come to the viewing party. I'll
Yeah.
send you the stuff.
It's a great excuse for me to get out of the house. Man.
Yeah, yeah, you should come to. It'll be 7ish, right?
Yeah.
Around 7
Yeah,
on the
love
3rd.
to.
So you should come too if you're
What
available.
what is it again?
So with TCG, we got on Oprah's network. So it's a show that Layla Ali hosts called Homemade Simple,
Okay.
where they take a room and they remodel it, or you remodel it yourself. So I know a few people over there, and they were looking for storylines for this season coming up. It's the 8th season, and we started talking. I said, "Hey, here's a cool story for you. You know, my dad's involved with TCG as well." I said, "Look, my dad's involved. We're trying to do this brand, build a legacy, father son, black family, black men doing something positive. They don't really have stuff like that on Oprah, and we could remodel the office in the back because that room still looks like it was 1975 in there. You know, nothing's been changed." So they loved it. We came in, remodeled the back office, made it like a headquarters of TCG. I'll take you guys back there when we're done. Still boxes in there because I'm moving stuff back in. But we did the show on Oprah's network, and it airs on the 3rd of November. And I got calls from the network, from the production company, from the camera, like, "Yo, this is the 8th season. This is the best episode we've ever done. We're gonna make you guys the lead-off episode for the season." And we're doing that on the 3rd, on 11/3. And you know, you go on Oprah. I'm about to say, all I need is Oprah to say, put us on her favorite things list. And after that, you know, Oprah touch you just start turning to gold all of a sudden. You know, you just so just through the roof after that. So we filmed the show. It came out great, and they're all excited about it. I haven't seen it, but it airs on the 3rd. We'll do a viewing party here that night.
That's great.
And just have a
Yeah.
party and just turn up.
Well, I appreciate you guys. This is a fantastic conversation. I learned a lot. I feel like I'm just amazed by everything you do. While everyone else is looking at Instagram, you guys are doing so many different things on a daily basis. We tell them one more time where to find your shoes, where to check out Ballers World, and so forth.
TCGfootwear.com. That's TCGfootwear.com, and Ballers World with a Z.com. Or you can follow us on all social media at Ballers World with a Z, Ballers with a Z World, or at TCG Footwear. So consistent across the board.
Thank you guys.
No,
This is
thank you.
amazing.
No,
Yeah.
thank you. That was
Yeah.
good.